be kind of an issue, something you're really going to want to do.
You're watching the Eternal Tournament Series.
Hello and welcome back, everyone, to round 2 of the third weekly for the Season 5 Eternal Tournament Series. I'm, of course, your host, Bairdrus, once again joined by my wonderful co-host, Sir Rhino.
Hello. All right. So I think we've at least partially recovered from all the excitement of round 1. And now we're going to get another dose of it here in round 2. We've got what I think is a pretty sweet matchup here, mostly because I think you could call both of these decks control decks, right, Bairdrus?
Yeah, I think you would. They're definitely interesting. That much can be said. You know, we definitely are keeping the trend of playing with some of these newer archetypes.
Yeah, I mean, newer cards, maybe older archetypes, right? Felm Port Control here from JadePhoenix is essentially Felm Control with Harsh Rule added in. We've seen that before, but now it's also featuring Inquisitor, Mokto, and Slay. Slay is a new Argent Port removal spell that costs 3. It's not fast speed, it's just a normal speed spell. But it kills anything. It just kills a unit. No requirements outside of just being able to cast it. No conditions other than the unit is a unit and it dies. On the other hand, we've got QuinZ with a Fire Justice Primal Knucklebones deck. So we saw a Fire Justice Primal control deck earlier that was ending the game with large Aegis Flyers. This one opts to end the game with, well, Knucklebones, which means you end the game with anything. Knucklebones is a 7-cost relic that when you play it, it transforms the rest of your deck into random cards. Now, because of the way Eternal exists or the way the sets are built, that means it'll mostly be not power. So you're going to be drawing a lot of random cards that aren't power. But that's not all Knucklebones does. It also draws you an extra card every turn. So while your card quality is probably going to go down in your deck, your card quantity from here on out's going to go up, and you might just end up beating your opponent to death with a bunch of random 2-1s or 2-2s for all you know. So it's a pretty fun control finisher. There's been a hot debate about how strong it really is, but I've been referring to it as a good staff of stories is the way I like to joke. It's easier to stick. It's harder to remove, but instead of drawing 2 of the cards you put in your deck per turn, you're getting 2 of any card.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Knucklebones is essentially, you're sacrificing, like you said, the card quality for the card quantity. And, you know, that can be a problem control decks run into as you get into the late game, is that sometimes you just run out of threats and answers. And being able to draw 2 every single turn is a pretty powerful effect, although you do pay the cost. So it can go back and forth. We are jumping into our game 1 right now, though, and we see JadePhoenix leading off with what's looking to be a pretty solid hand here. You know, he's got a pair of Felm Bloodcasters and a Mokto. He doesn't have a ton of answers here, but this is a control mirror in a sense. So he's not going to necessarily need a ton of answers to units right away.
Yeah, while it is a control mirror, it's very different styles of control. Some of QuinZ's removal base or removal suite is weapons like Duelist Blade, Ordic Runehammer, Sword of Ikaria, whereas JadePhoenix's removal is really all spells. Lightning Storm, 4 Annihilate, 4 Slay, means depending on the draws from each player, JadePhoenix might not have a lot of targets for these removal spells, might end up having a lot of dead cards. Now, he does have Mokto in hand, which you'd love to cast here, but doesn't hit that double justice. And that means he's not going to be able to put QuinZ under a ton of pressure. The Bloodcasters are still nice cards to have, but I think he'd rather have a 5/5 flyer in play right now.
Yeah, absolutely. The second he can get those Moktos down, we will be seeing them coming down. JadePhoenix in an interesting situation here now. It looks like he's considering going for this Withering Witch so he can follow it up with Slay on the next turn and start putting some pressure back onto QuinZ. And it's not a play I necessarily hate here either.
Yeah, Withering Witch not doing really anything in this matchup when your opponent's units are 3 Valkyrie Enforcers and 2 Throne Wardens, and then whatever Knucklebones gets them, Withering Witch just isn't going to do a ton. The Knucklebones deck, even though QuinZ didn't play Knucklebones here, it doesn't necessarily mean he has or doesn't have it in hand. He might just be waiting to draw more control cards. Like an issue you can sometimes run into in Knucklebones decks is if you cast it too soon, you end up, like if you only have one Harsh Rule in hand and have to use it right away after you cast it or something, you might end up not having enough answers. JadePhoenix drew his Machtos, which is really what he wants in this matchup. The only clean answer Quinn has to those is the 3 Valkyrie Enforcers, but not being able to cast them here is really, really hurting JadePhoenix right now.
Yeah, and we do see one of those Valkyrie Enforcers coming down right now. So once JadePhoenix finally finds his second Justice influence, we are going to see Machtos aplenty coming down. And if you have 3 Machtos revenged on top of your deck, Rhino, I feel like you're in a position where you just can't lose. Now, I could be wrong there, but I feel like you're definitely in a very powerful position. And we do see JadePhoenix pick up that second Justice, so I think it's going to be Machto time.
Yeah, you could opt to hold up Feaster here, but all that does is like eat the sword anyway. I think slamming the Machto and making them commit another Valkyrie Enforcer to this board seems okay. And if they don't have Valkyrie Enforcer, you're going to get revenge value out of this Machto. So QuinZ using already one of his 3 total Valkyrie Enforcers just early on. I think it was correct to try and get a unit down and deny the activation from Bloodcaster there. It made sense, but now these Machtos are going to show up, and QuinZ going to have to grind through these. So QuinZ late game grind card again is Knucklebones, and JadePhoenix is Machto, and well, JadePhoenix has 3 of them, and they're a little bit more proactive of a finisher than Knuckle. So we don't know what's in QuinZ's hand, but clearly not a silence for Machto. An Island's Choice at least will kill it here. But again, his revenge goes back into the top 10 cards of his deck. He doesn't know where in that top 10, but somewhere in there. And even when he comes back, he'll still have revenge.
Yeah, and it gets shuffled into the top 10, and we see JadePhoenix immediately following up with another Machto here. So he's not too upset when these Machtos get killed, because as we said, they're just going to be cycled back through. And since they do have Destiny, that's an important part of the mechanic that, when I first looked at it, I wasn't evaluating as correctly as I should have. It's not just that you're putting a card back on top of your deck to redraw it, but you're just getting Destiny, and Destiny is by far the most powerful effect in the game. Playing the unit for free off the top of your deck and then being able to draw an additional card is just so strong. That's what makes Machto such a star player here.
Yeah, it kind of needs Destiny, or then it wouldn't be the card advantage it would be anymore. But QuinZ did actually get to silence one of these Machtos before killing it, and notably, that may have been what he tutored for with Celestial Element. Again, we don't know. But yeah, another Machto comes down, gets the "You've got to be kidding" out of QuinZ. And JadePhoenix now getting aggressive here with the Annihilating hand, doesn't fear a double block really in any capacity. And yeah, QuinZ doesn't have naturally doesn't have a lot of Annihilate targets. Might have some more now that he's played the Knucklebones. But we'll have to see what QuinZ finds off these Knucklebones. He's got 11 power, so anything he draws will be able to cast other than Spirit of Resistance and 8 of the Huru. All right, Cyclops gets a 5/4 that gets him Snowball. All right, sure. No other follow-up. We don't know what the second card in his hand is. And looks like, yeah, just more Machto beatdown with Shadowlands Feasters held up to eat some flyers.
Yeah, Shadowlands Feaster is definitely going to come down on the next turn and provide some extra damage. Let's see if QuinZ's next 2 cards were good enough for him to have an answer here. Outland's Brute off the top of his deck, sure. And an Aviarax Familiar?
Avarax Familiar.
Avarax,
the 1/1 Dino.
Oh, and he does find... Oh, man, he finds the
Stalwart
shield.
Keeps it out of... All right. So, QuinZ still doesn't really have a great board here. Looks like he's shipping it there. He wasn't really dead on board yet, but I guess he just didn't see himself somehow beating this Machto plus the other big flyers that were coming. So now we go to sideboard. Triple Machto gets there. Mako, whatever his name is. And I think if you're JadePhoenix, you're hoping to draw pretty similar to that, maybe just that second Justice Source a bit.
Yeah, let's check out QuinZ's sideboard and see what he can do here. So he's got 4 copies of Ruin, 2 copies of Caleb's Choice, 4 Lightning Strikes, 2 Vanquishes, 2 Eye of Winners, and a Rain of Frogs. So, you know, a card that immediately sticks out to me in this list, I feel like has to be Eye of Winner, right? Because it's going to be hard to deal with these Moktos regardless, due to the permanent revenge. So if you can't silence them, at least if you can lock them down every turn, that's just as good, right?
Kind of, but it is, you know, costing you power every turn to do so. I could see it coming in, but it is a little tricky. Like, your opponent's going to have enough other units going on. Like, what are you taking out for it then becomes the question. I think the standout card for me is Caleb's Choice. QuinZ already playing 2. I wouldn't be shocked to see that number go up, especially if you're expecting your opponent to bring in bigger cards like we see as Zindel's Gift and Celestial Omen out of JadePhoenix's sideboard. Hitting Zindel's Gift with Caleb's Choice is awesome. It can also hit Harsh Rule if you ever get a head on board. Can hit Sabotage if those come in. So I could see extra copies of that coming on. It also disrupts the Witch Lightning Storm combo. I don't expect Witches to stay in for JadePhoenix. But definitely. It looks like we're in game 2 here, and we'll just have to see what they opted to play here. Again, it's a whole new meta, which means not only different sideboarding with different main board choices. And yeah, we see JadePhoenix have Sabotage and Zindel's Gift here, but no Shadow Sources at all.
Ooh, yeah, that's quite rough for him here. He's gonna be needing quite a lot of these Shadow Sources. Mokto obviously taking 2, and a Zindel's Gift taking 3. So see if he can find his shadow as we go on.
Powder Alchemist showing up here. I actually kind of like this. It's a card with a Revenge. It's a 2/2 Lifesteal Revenge that also does 2 damage to the opponent when it comes into play. So you can use it to take out, if you're afraid of, say, your opponent playing weapons, like we know that Quinn is playing, like Sword of Ikaria and Auric Runehammer. This can deal with those the turn it comes down and still give you a body that sticks around. So that's pretty cool. Of course, not very cool when you can't cast it, and currently JadePhoenix can't really cast anything, but gonna get this Shadow Source here, and maybe just Sabotage pop and then play another Sabotage. Yeah, that's gonna happen here.
That seems pretty good here. Sabotage to get the Aegis off of his face. Plays a second Sabotage. This is also going to allow him to set up for the stone Powder Alchemist, as you were just talking about. Allows him to pop the weapon. So now that the Aegis is gone, this is going to be a little bit cleaner. We did see a Caleb's Choice get played on the other Sabotage, so wasn't able to get the effect out of it. But realistically, the first Sabotage was the more important one, because now the Auric Runehammer has been put in the void.
Yep, and now this Alchemist will get silenced by a Valkyrie, so hey, that's a silence down for Mokto at least. And a target for Annihilate's been acquired. So hey, JadePhoenix, rough start, but Quinn didn't put the most pressure up on him, and he might be able to recover here. Ooh, Extract not being castable here means he can't take out this Staff of Stories. Man, there's a cost to building a 3-faction deck, and I think it's really showing itself here.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's not just any 3-faction deck either. I mean, this deck has so many influence requirements, right? Like, you need at least 3 Shadow, at least 2 Justice, and 2 Primal. Yeah, because he's playing Wisdom, so you need at least 2 Primal. I mean, that's just a huge suite of influence requirements across the board. And we see QuinZ dropping Rain of Frogs, and he goes ahead and takes care of those Moktos right away. So no Mokto threat this game.
Yeah, and now JadePhoenix is going to have to find another way to win this game, which is really going to have to be like Black Sky Harbinger and Shadowlands Feaster Beatdown, which is not quite as threatening. He will be able to start drawing cards maybe soon with these Bloodcasters. He's got to decide how much he wants to commit to this board, knowing his opponent could have a Harsh Rule. And it looks like he's okay with basically 1 Bloodcaster and not much else. Like the other small units, they're things, but not super relevant in this long game.
Yeah, QuinZ immediately follows up with a harsh roll, and we see another staff of stories, but
Ooh.
JadePhoenix has the lightning strike to answer it
Yeah.
here. So
QuinZ saw that lightning strike off of Rhino Frogs. That was definitely in JadePhoenix's hand, and he must have just missed it or forgot about it and went for the attack with the staff of stories. And that's not good. I think he would have preferred to have that staff in play right now rather than get 2 damage on JadePhoenix's face.
yeah, it was such a snap hit when he played Reign of Frogs, and he just took Mokto what seemed like instantly. You know, it could have been a little.
Oh yeah, because Reign of Frogs only shows you so many cards. He probably maybe didn't see the entire hand. It's certainly possible.
Yeah, he might have not even chosen to scroll over exactly. He might have just saw Mokto and said, "Okay, this is what I'm taking 100 out of 100 times," which would be correct there, of course. But yeah, you always want to get that full information when you can get it from your opponent. So we see the Azindal's gift coming down that gets rid of an Island's Choice and a Lightning Strike here, and this kind of paves the way for JadePhoenix to do as he pleases.
Yep. Now again, he's basically got to do 3-5 beatdowns. There's not much else going on here, but he knows QuinZ can't hold up counter spells or anything like that for the rest of the game. But if QuinZ does find a Knuckle Bones, the Azindal's gift isn't going to do a ton here. I do like playing the second one, so if they do find Caleb's Choice or whatever, you know, they've got to deal with 2 gifts. But yeah, that's not happening. QuinZ is just breaking, finding a lot of power. And it looks like JadePhoenix might be able to close this out. I want to see if a Bloodcaster grabs a Knuckle Bones. That's what I'm really hoping for this game. Oh, called shot. There it is.
Oh, there we go. And that's crazy to see. I wonder if JadePhoenix will actually even drop this if he's he drops it. He drops it for the style points here because he doesn't really need it.
100%. Behold my awesome power, says JadePhoenix. And yeah, this is not looking good for QuinZ.
Yeah, QuinZ is going to need to find something huge here. I'm not sure what he can dig up.
I don't think there's anything QuinZ can get here. And now, yeah, that's going to get the GGs out. The extract for lethal. Being able to go face for 3 damage, nice stuff. And it doesn't matter where he scries that card to. But whew, I didn't think the control mirror was going to be that fast, but it looks like JadePhoenix got his beats on. QuinZ flooded a little hard there and then got his Knuckle Bones stolen from him. And yeah, rough go there for QuinZ. I believe that's the 0-1 bracket, so he's going to 0-2, but maybe he'll still be able to rally. 7 rounds is a lot to go with, so still 5 more for him. 5-2 could still make top 8, maybe. Maybe not with the breakers, but he could make a run. We'll have to see if we'll see him again later on in the tourney. But hats off to both players. And geez, look at that. JadePhoenix hitting those power issues. But with the nice thing is, once you do hit the influence requirements, you get to play a lot of strong spells. And I think we saw that.
Yeah, certainly. That was quite a matchup there. I mean, unfortunately, we didn't really get to see Knuckle Bones kind of do its thing. Like, we saw Knuckle Bones drop its key card in the first matchup, but it was already at such a disadvantage that it was playing from behind. I do still think that QuinZ kind of snap conceded that game a little fast. Like, if there had been a harsh roll on top of his deck, for example, he would have been able to start to rally back. And drawing 2 cards a turn versus your opponent only drawing 1 is certainly not nothing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in the control mirror, once you're just drawing more cards than your opponent, that just sounds like a good time. But yeah, never quite got there. I think we're still trying to line up a backup match here.
We're looking for a backup match here real quick. So in the meantime, if we can find one, we'll let you guys know. But we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of explanation on the Eternal Tournament series real quick. So for those of you who are not aware, new viewers to the tournament series, we run the Eternal Tournament series every week. Almost every week anyway. We run open tournaments every single Saturday. We run 7 tournaments per season and a last chance qualifier on Sunday. Now, we take your best 4 results and the first and second place finishers of those tournaments, and we draft them up into a 32-player double elimination bracket at the end of every 2 months, where we have a 2-day invitational. The first day is playing the first few rounds of the tournament, and the second day is a cut to top 8, much like you would see in some more traditional card games. And we offer cash prizes for our invitational finalists. So our upcoming invitational is going to be August 26th and 27th. This is the third of the 7 weeklies for the 5th season of the Eternal Tournament Series. And every 3 seasons, we culminate in a 2-day either the mid-year major, which we had 2 seasons ago, or the annual championships, which will be coming up at the end of season 6. For the mid-year major, we had a $560 cash prize pool, and for the annual championships, we're hoping to have an even larger one. So, tons of cash to be split among some of the best players in Eternal. It's going to be 16 players qualifying for both of those. And in order to qualify for those, you earn invitational points or series points by doing well in invitationals and doing well in weeklies. So anytime you top 4 in a weekly, you earn some series points. And anytime you do well in an invitational after being invited, you earn extra series points. And those go towards qualifying you for the 2-day mid-year major and annual championships. So how do you get into these various tournaments? Well, as I said, the opens every Saturday are free to play in. This open today that everybody's playing in, super hyped to see. All of these players just had to sign up and register on time, check in, and they're good to go. So that will allow them to play through the tournament. Now, for our first and second place, whoever wins and gets second in this tournament, they're going to be automatically qualified for the invitational. The rest of our players are going to have the number of wins they earned is going to be converted to invitational points. We're going to take everybody's 4 best weeks and then stack them up against each other and fill out the rest of our 32-player invitational bracket that way. So in order to qualify for an invitational, you win an open or you perform consistently. The mid-year major and annual championships, as I said, those are earned by earning series points. Series points come from winning and doing well in opens and winning and doing well in invitationals. So the better you do, the more likely it is that you're going to end up in those mid-year majors and the annual championships, which are going to have, of course, the toughest competition, but also the biggest prizes we can find. The full calendar is, of course, on aReNGeeeternal.com. So if you want to check out when our tournament schedule is, see the full lineup, see how the circuit works, you can get an idea on aReNGeeeternal.com. And we do have some fun tournaments coming up that we're going to start running on our Sundays. So Rhino, go ahead and take those away.
Yeah, at least for these next 2 weeks, we've got some Sunday tournaments as part of our, I think it was for hitting our Patreon goals. So these are not part of the Eternal Tournament Series necessarily. You're not getting ETS invitational points or series points or anything like that. There are going to be various formats, like this upcoming one tomorrow is Pauper. So that'll be just commons only. And also a $100 prize pool paid down to 4th place. So $100 on the line. They're fun, free to enter. You get to do some various deck building challenges, show off your deck building chops, and should be fun. There will also be another event next Sunday, which will be set 2 only. So tomorrow it'll be Pauper tournament, which is commons only. Next Sunday, again, not this Saturday. We're not replacing any of our ETS weeklies. It'll be set 2 only, Omens of the Past only constructed. So it should be some fun and mostly fun tournaments, but also some pretty cool prizes for the low cost of free. So definitely sign up and check those out.
Yeah, they're super cool tournaments, of course. The fun tournaments, as Rhino said, they have a $100 cash prize pool. Our weekly tournaments just qualify you for the larger tournaments. However, our invitationals normally pay out about $250 across the top 8 players. And I did get confirmation from Rick that said our World Championships, which will be at the end of Season 6, is going to have a guaranteed $1,000 prize pool and possibly higher. So super exciting, going to be by far the largest prize pool we've ever done. We're trying to kick up the stakes here on the circuit and, pay the players out quite a bit of cash. So it looks like for this tournament, first place probably will be walking home on the annual championships with, $250, $300. So very, very cool and exciting stuff all around. So if you guys want to try your hand at all of these wonderful tournaments or get your start towards playing, Eternal for some little spare cash on the side, playing in our invitationals and our mid-year major and our annual championships, you can go ahead and do that by signing up for your Saturday weeklies. Just like this one, free to play again. So even if you're not in it for the long haul, if you just want to come out and have a good time, feel free to, tournament's free to enter. So come out, have a good time with us. Obviously, we had 110 players today almost. So clearly everybody's excited about set 2 and, just as excited as we are.
Yeah, exciting stuff. So we were about to bring you our backup match, but that also just finished. aReNGee just took out Dark Hands, so Dark Combrade takes it over the TJP list. So we're going to try and get you more action, but that is it for this round. Our backups and our backups have all been finished. These control and mid-range matchups, I don't know. These units are just too big. Maybe we need to go up to 40 life or something. But yeah, we'll be getting you more content soon. Just not right now. We'll be back for round 3, though. Thank you all so much for tuning in.
Yeah, we'll be back for round 3 in just a few moments, folks. Round is about to close out, so stay tuned. Do not go anywhere, and we will be right back.
Piercing Grief looks